The Galactic Council had maintained peace for 3,000 cycles, and they had done so with one simple, unbreakable rule. Don't wake the humans. Consul Zeftar of the Vorthon Empire had always found this rule absurd. His violet-scaled hands drummed impatiently against the obsidian council table as he listened to the same tired arguments from the other species' representatives. The humans had been in voluntary stasis for nearly a millennium, retreating to their small blue world after what the historical records called the Great Exhaustion. They chose to sleep, Zeftar hissed, his forked tongue tasting the recycled air of the council chamber. While we have built a civilization that spans 12 galaxies, they hibernate like primitive beasts. Elder Kethmoran of the Crystalline. Collective chimed softly, her translucent form shimmering with disapproval. The humans requested peace, Consul. We granted it. The rule exists for good reason. What reason? Zeftar's tail lashed behind him. Fear of a species that couldn't even maintain unity among themselves? They were divided, chaotic, self-destructive. Their own records show centuries of warfare over the most trivial differences. The other council members exchanged glances, or the equivalent among their various sensory organs. They had all heard the stories, passed down through generations of galactic leadership. Stories that made no sense to modern ears. Commander Thex of the Hive Mind's 1,000 voices spoke as one. The archives are clear, Consul. Before their retreat, humans were different. Different how? Zeftar leaned forward, his amber eyes gleaming. Their technology was inferior, their lifespans laughably short, their society fractured. What could they possibly do to a unified galactic civilization? The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer because no one truly remembered. The warnings had become tradition. Tradition had become law, and law had become unquestioned dogma. That silence was all the justification Zeftar needed. 3 days later, his personal dreadnought, the Scaled Fury, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Earth hung before them, a blue marble suspended in the cosmic void, its surface showing no signs of the once teeming civilization that had built cities reaching toward the stars. Consul, his aide, Sub-Commander Veltak, approached nervously. The energy readings from the planet. They're unusual. The entire surface appears to be covered by some kind of dormancy field. Perfect. Zeftar's smile revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. Wake them up. The quantum disruption beam lanced down from the dreadnought, designed to interfere with any stasis technology. It struck Earth's atmosphere and spread like ripples, in a pond, racing across continents and oceans. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the planet began to hum. It started as a low vibration that the ship's sensors barely detected, but it grew, rising through frequencies until it became audible even through the vacuum of space. The blue marble began to glow, not with reflected sunlight, but with an inner radiance that seemed to pulse with a heartbeat rhythm. Consul. Veltak's voice cracked. We're receiving a transmission. Put it through. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a figure that appeared humanoid but somehow more. The being's eyes held depths that seemed to contain galaxies. And when it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that resonated in dimensions beyond sound. You woke us up. The words were simple, spoken in perfect galactic standard, but they carried weight that pressed against every soul in the ship's bridge. Zeftar straightened, trying to project authority. I am Consul Zeftar of the Vorthon Empire. You will surrender this system to Galactic Council authority and submit to— We asked for one thing, the human continued, as if Zeftar hadn't spoken. One simple thing. We asked to be left alone while we grew. The consul's confidence wavered as space around Earth began to shimmer. What he had taken for empty void revealed itself to be teeming with structures, vast, impossible geometries. that his mind struggled to process. They had been there all along, hidden not by technology, but by the simple fact that his species lacked the sensory capacity to perceive them. "You see," the human said, and now Zeftar could see that it wasn't. Just one being, but billions, their consciousness networked across dimensions. "We didn't go to sleep. We evolved. We transcended the physical limitations that once bound us to a single plane of existence." The scaled fury shuddered as reality bent around it. Zeftar watched in horror as his crew began to change, their consciousness expanding. Beyond the confines of their physical forms, they weren't being destroyed, they were being elevated, lifted into a state of existence that their previous biology couldn't have supported. "We tried to warn them," the human network continued, speaking now directly into Zeftar's transforming mind. "We left the rule because we knew that if anyone woke us before we were ready to return, we wouldn't be able to control the process. Our growth phase needed to complete naturally." As Zeftar's awareness expanded across multiple dimensions, he finally understood. The humans hadn't retreated in defeat. They had withdrawn to undergo a metamorphosis that would reshape the very nature of consciousness in the universe. They had needed time to learn control, to develop the wisdom necessary to guide other species through the same transformation safely. But he had forced their hand. Across the galaxy, every sentient being felt the change as reality restructured itself around a new paradigm. The humans hadn't wanted to wake up as gods. They had hoped to return as teachers. Instead, they had been forced to become gardeners, carefully tending to a universal consciousness that was expanding too quickly for comfort. In his last moment of individual thought, Zeftar realized why the universe had one rule. Some sleeping giants are better left to wake on their own terms.